Today, we're detailing the coaster. Alright everyone, welcome back to episode 6 of Haruna. It's been a long time and I apologize. I completely apologize about that wait. It's kind of out of my hands. Basically, right after the last episode 5 released, I had to start moving. So I packed up my my setup and yeah, I started moving. And then I or my friend rather let me use their storage unit to keep my stuff in, and then they kind of immediately lost access to it temporarily, like 4 days after when I was gonna take my stuff out. So I had to wait another couple days for them to get access again so that I could go grab my stuff. So in the meantime, I just had my PC and an old keyboard, old mouse, and I'll show you what I'll show you what my setup looked like right now. And that was how I was playing this game in this part of the video. My neck hurt. Oh my god, dude! A wall-mounted TV as your monitor, 2 meters away from you, having to look up at it. No desk, sitting in a lawn chair, using a box as your desk. 2 boxes, rather. One for the keyboard and one for the mouse. That was not fun. So, yeah, this first part of this video, I think the first half was recorded in that setup, and then luckily I was able to grab my stuff and build my setup for half a day and then record for the other half of the day. So that was nice to be able to switch into an actual setup and see how much easier it was. But anyway, let's get into the video. So now we're going to detail the coaster that I spent all last episode creating. The layout is not entirely 100% like I said before. I think I'm going to edit the shaping or the profiling of the I think it's a dive loop at the right after the MCBR. I think it's a little shaky or a little wonky, so I'm gonna change the profiling of that. And then this part right here that I'm working on that goes over the entrance of the queue, I like how close it is and how I make this cover over it, and it's very interactive with the queue, right? I like that, but I think the ride has a lot of speed at this point. So a low swooping turn is fine. It's pretty intense for, I guess, laterals or verticals. I don't know which one, but I guess that's pretty fine for that. But if you are having that much speed, I think I can add another element to sort of make this ride a little more interesting. So I think later on in not this video, but maybe part 7, I will sort of change the layout a little bit and add an airtime hill or something, just a little pop of ejector right where this little transition from banking left to right is. So a little airtime hill there will look pretty good. Another thing that delayed this video was a power outage. So I really had the worst string of events happen these past few days. So I finally I was playing on my bogus setup for a couple hours. I recorded this 4-hour session, and then a storm hits, and then it hits a tree in my neighborhood, and it just completely knocks out the power. And the power is gone for 7 hours, from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Right, so in that time I'm just sitting in the darkness, super bored, nothing, cause I we're all super modern now. We just rely on technology to live, and entertain ourselves. And then when we run out of power, like all you've got is your phone until that runs out of battery, and then you're just bored. So I started playing ukulele and just doing nothing because it was already late and dark and there's no power, so I didn't want to go outside because it's pretty dang dark, dude. And also the mosquitoes here are absolutely insane, so there's no chance of me going outside. So yeah, I just had to sit by the candlelight and play ukulele. So that was fun. A really good use of time when I really wanted to make a Planet Coaster episode. So yeah, sucks, but those type of things happen. Can't really control it. Just gotta move on. Do what you can do. So yeah, I'm sort of cleaning up the queue path here. So like I said in the last video, I wanted the queue to sort of look like Rapterra. If you guys have seen like the like the previewed look of it, rather, like what the renders. If you guys have seen what the renders of Rapterra's queue is gonna look like, it's like gonna have very clean lines like this, just big planters and not a lot of natural foliage, just like everything's super, just like a lot of mulch. And then there's just like very clean plants, and everything's placed by hand and not just natural. So that's what I wanted the queue to look like. So that's me making these ginormous planters and trying to make the pieces fit into this weird queue shape. So I did my best, but it ultimately doesn't turn out like too good. Like, it's okay. It's not the best queue of all time or anything. So yeah, so I missed all these these hiccups in production of this video. I know it's been like a week or 2 weeks even for this part to come out, so to make up for that, I've got a very long episode for today for you. Honestly, I don't know how I'm going to talk through the whole thing because I'm just detailing the coaster, so we'll see how we go about that. So right now I'm adding some vending machines to the middle of the line. If you guys have ever been to a roller coaster or a theme park, sometimes in the really long lines you'll see vending machines in there, and it's just another cash grab. They just need all your money while you're in the park. But at the same time, it's like if you've been waiting for like over an hour in the hot sun, you kind of want a drink. So it's kind of genius at the same time of being marginally unethical. Like, why not have like free water fountains and stuff? That would be cool. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I have a free water fountain. So yeah, now I'm trying to make the queue as comfortable as it can be, all things considered. So I'm adding lots of shade and covering. Right now I'm adding this umbrella that I end up copying and pasting in a lot of places in the queue. I'm not sure. I think Cedar Point. I think Cedar Point has these umbrellas in their queue lines, especially for Millennium Force. I think that's what I remember while I was waiting to queue Millennium Force. I think they had lots of these big white and blue umbrellas, but I don't end up going with blue here, I think. Or I do, but it's a darker blue, not this shade. Yeah, it's that kind of turquoise or type of blue. So anyway, the whole time I was without my setup, trying to just trying my hardest to bottle in my emotions and not play Planet Coaster when I had so many ideas brewing in my head. And that's the thing, because yeah, I would have enjoyed to play, but taking that week off where I couldn't do anything, it kind of led to more innovation, because I just kept thinking of more and more ideas for this park. And then those things get bottled up, so you write them down, and then as soon as you have access to your park, you just go crazy. So that was kind of the situation for me. I was so excited to get back to work in this park, so that's why I had this session right here was a couple hours, and then right after this I had a 5-hour session. Oh no, it was 4 hours, sorry. I had a 4-hour session which I played, and unfortunately, the power out did hit, or it did occur during that 4-hour session. So my video file got corrupted, and I lost 5 hours of footage. So at some point in here, you're gonna see me just completely cut, and a lot of the work is gonna be done. Like the station is gonna be completely done, or not completely done, but the station is gonna be done, and a lot of the landscaping is also gonna be done. And I'm sorry about that, but there's nothing I can do, and I just needed to get this episode out. So unfortunately, there was another hiccup, but I think there's so much content in this video that if I even had that footage, this would be over an hour long. So I think it's fine for the most part. And if it's not too noticeable, like if it's fine, I might do with cutting out more sections of building, just because if I include everything I record, it seems a bit too much footage, because I like my videos to sort of be like one part, right? So like the last video, for example, it was me building the coaster, and that was the whole video. And then this video will be me detailing the coaster, and then at that point the coaster will be done. And that's kind of the vision I had for this series, which would be like one episode equals one section of the park done. So I try to get as much done in that episode as possible. So if that cannot be the case, if I need to chop it up into smaller parts, so like kind of what I did for this, honestly, like I couldn't have done the entire coaster in one video, because that would have been like 2 hours long, including the last part and this part. So building the coaster, terraforming, and then detailing the coaster, having 2 separate videos for that, I think that's fine. But like I want to do complete sections of the park in an entire episode, for example. So I guess we'll just have to see moving forward how that's gonna look. In the meantime, I'm adding these, I guess, higher security fences for the queue, because my whole thought process while making this was to prevent the possibility of people jumping out of line and going somewhere where they could potentially be hit by a roller coaster, right? Like what was the big incident this year? I think it was Banshee. Somebody lost their phone or something, and then instead of waiting for the park to close so that the workers could go retrieve it, they hopped the fence and went to grab their phone, and unfortunately in that process they were struck by a train. So I had that in mind when I was building this, and I wanted to completely remove the possibility of anyone ever getting out of the line to enter potentially dangerous area of the roller coaster. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of bolstering up the fencing. Some areas are more, I guess, reinforced than others. And that's based on how dangerous I think that area potentially is. Alright, so now I'm just going through and lighting up the dark areas in the line. Yeah. Another thing I had, actually, I want to bring this up, is I recently updated to a newer NVIDIA driver, through the GeForce experience, whatever the app. I updated to a newer driver, and in the process, whenever I've loaded into Planet Coaster, the level of detail has been absolutely terrible. Like, the stuff in front, it takes a little to like load, and then after it loads, it's like blurry, and then it's fine. But I'll get back to that. But right now, here's where I'm at right now. So I made this entire queue and the station. So right there was the gift shop after you exit the ride. Here's a path that goes underneath the final Helix turnaround, and here's part of the queue that goes towards the station. So there's a station I built. I do change it eventually, so it looks a little different now. So you'll see that. But right now, most of it is pretty much done, and I lost all the footage. So sorry about that. And then there's also the cover for the transfer track, as well as the storage shed. So now we're getting back into the time lapse. So I realized I had to show off what I actually did before the power outage happened, and I lost 4 hours of footage. So that's what that little section was. So yeah, now I'm getting back into what I was talking about earlier, which was the NVIDIA driver. So like I said, even things up close, they'd be blurry, and then after like a second or two, they'd actually focus up like an actual camera. It's kind of weird, like your, what's the closest example, like an iPhone camera. Like if the subject rather is too close, then it will be blurry until it actually focuses up, right? So that's how the in-game, like how it actually looked in-game for a while, like, and it's still like this. And so I just thought that was really weird. And then don't even get me started on things in the background. So if the things up close are focused, the things in the background are super blurry, and that is terrible for a game like this, because I want to see the full detail at all times. Like, my PC is strong enough, it can handle it, so I need to be able to see the fine lines and just basically how it was before. I don't know why they had to update it or whatever they did, but I'm thinking about reverting back to the previous driver, because this is like ridiculous. I can't even get the full potential of my game because it's just not rendering it, and I don't know why. So I think you'll see that at the end. If it's not too fast to see, it is sped up 22 times, so forgive me. But if I see it, I'll point it out. It's pretty bad, honestly, and I don't feel comfortable filming any off-ride footage or cinematics. Like, I haven't done that yet for this video because I'm really scared on how the quality is gonna look when I finish it and it's just blurry. Like right here it looks good, but when I get back into it, it's gonna be super blurry. For the next I guess VOD, yeah, for the next VOD after this section. But anywho, right now I am adding lighting to the track. So anyway, there's dude, I forgot what those are called. Catwalks. Anytime there's catwalks next to the track, I'm adding a bunch of the lighting because you kind of need that. That's where people are gonna walk. So in the event that an emergency happens where people need to be evacuated from the ride, there needs to be lighting because it could happen at any time of day. So yeah, again, here's the gift shop where your ride photos can be taken, or are taken rather, and you could purchase them. So now we are adding the final lights around the area and trying to clean up the queue. So right here, what am I doing? I am cleaning up the queue, like I said. So now we're getting into the detailing, and like I said, it's like very minimal, fine landscaping. I think, is this where it starts to get blurry? I'm not too sure. I can't really see, but yeah, we are detailing the coaster now. So the queue's done, the station's done, and now we're adding the vegetation to not just the queue, but eventually I'll get around to the whole entire coaster, as well as actually do the theming, because right now there's no theme, it's just a coaster. There's slightly theming with the little tunnel that goes underneath the beginning of the queue. There's some slight theming there, but besides that, you know, this is just a generic coaster. It's just a coaster on the mountain, which, I mean, it looks good, but come on, a theme park like this absolutely needs to have incredible theming. So that's what I will get to, and that's what the majority of this video is, and why it is so long, because I wanted to put a lot of effort into the theming. So before that though, we're getting into lighting. So one of my favorite things to do in coasters is lighting up the supports, because at night you can see them, and if you get the lighting right, they look really good. And plus you spend all that time making custom supports, you want them to be seen, right? So yeah, now we're getting into some theming. So Um, you'll see it later in the video, but I ended up calling this coaster AMPHION, and you'll see the logo later that I ended up making. I say making, but ultimately that logo was made by AI. I think I used Bing. I used the Bing AI creation tool, whatever. So I just said make a logo for an Italian. What was it? No. Make a logo for an ancient Roman themed roller coaster. Yeah, named AMPHION. And so I got a lot of interesting results. And I ultimately just chose one that I thought looked pretty good and put that in Photoshop, hit remove background because that tool is so good. I remember using Photoshop before that tool was a thing, and you had to actually know how to use Photoshop to remove backgrounds. Like, it wasn't hard, but now you just press one button. You don't even have to look for the button. It just pops up as soon as you open the Photoshop app. So it's really cool. So how times have changed. Like, you don't need any skill to use Photoshop now. Everything is just so easy. So yeah, I made that, Bing AI made that logo that I went with. But yeah, so a little bit about the name AMPHION. Honestly, I don't know too much. I know this is supposed to be Italy, so it's supposed to be like ancient Roman, right? But I think AMPHION is actually Greek. But you know, who's counting, right? So let me pull up the Google search for AMPHION. AMPHION mythology. AMPHION was a centaur. Ah. And he was killed by Heracles. Nice. Okay, this is the part that I kind of took and ran with. So it is said that he is AMPHION is, I guess, one of the founding myths of the city of Thebes. I guess he's one of the founders of Thebes. There's one thing that I pulled up earlier that I really just stuck with. Something about the city of Thebes having seven gated walls, right? Or I guess a wall, but there's 7 gates. And I wanted to add that to this by having, I guess, you see the tower I just made. I ended up making 7 of them and placing them around the park as kind of to note that part, right? So instead of 7 gates, we've got 7 towers that this roller coaster AMPHION has pummeled, right? So there's pieces everywhere. There's destruction. I guess I guess that makes no sense, really, that the AMPHION character would be destroying them because he's one of the founders and he created the gates. So then he's fighting someone off, and that person has made this destruction. I don't know. I'll have to look into that and make a better story for the theming of this ride later. But yeah, you'll see I added the ride camera. So I synced it to a trigger point in the ride such that every time the coaster passes in front of it, it'll flicker white light for like 1 point something seconds, and it simulates the look of all the flashing happening for when you pass in front of a ride camera. So I used to always do this when I played Planet Coaster, and I thought it was pretty neat, and realistic, so I brought that back. Okay, so I'm just theming these parts of the coaster that are near the station to sort of look like the first drop area, which had a huge, destroyed castle or stronghold looking building there. So yeah, going through the other areas that I previously made and adding those now. So now we're finishing up the lighting of the coaster supports, and if you saw before, the dark track, it's just a waste. It's a waste of having this beautiful coaster here if you can't even see it at night. So definitely you should illuminate your coasters if possible, because it just adds so much. Like I really think it adds a lot. So like I said, you already spent time making the custom support, so might as well just light them up. It's an extra piece or two, depending on how big the support is. So, yep. Right. I think later on I go through and remove some of the lighting because it is very strong in some places. But yeah, this is before I updated the graphics driver. Can't really tell. I think now it's blurry. Yeah, right now is the next session when after I updated everything, and dude, I'm pretty upset, honestly. So yeah, right here you'll see the logo that I made, or the ChatGPT logo. It looks pretty good. Very interesting. I feel like it's something you would definitely see in a park. So trying my best to actually make it fit in. I know it's just a TV screen. Eventually, it would have been really cool to have like a custom model put in, right? So it's not like just a screen, but actually like physical pieces that look like this. So maybe I should do that eventually, but I do think I want to keep this park vanilla as possible. So that's why I went with the screen and ended up putting it in the middle of the plaza rather than in this little planter here. I think it just looks better there, honestly, because realistically, like, what else am I gonna put there? There's nothing really there. So now I'm adding a couple support columns just to make it look interesting, and some lighting because the middle of the path is dark. So yeah, this video is about 30 minutes in. Still got a third of it left to go. And I think the last third is just me placing rocks and trees, so that's cool. Right now I'm trying to make a ride wait time thing, and I eventually just go into Photoshop right there and I whip one up right there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, looking at the different lighting, and you'll see the screens are so bright. The screens are so bright at night, which I absolutely hate, and I don't know how to get rid of that. So I eventually ended up turning bloom off to see if that would help, and it helped a little bit. So I don't know, man. This game, as soon as I updated my driver, this game decided to just poop itself. Like I don't know what's going on. Then I started making this other section of the park. I don't know why I did this. It's a bit ridiculous of me. So yeah, this is not final at all. I just wanted to close off this area of the path, so that's why I started just adding that, because I want, yeah, we're closing off the plaza. So yeah, I want to eventually have a bridge go off to the other half of the park on the other side of the water, the major river there, but I don't know how a bridge that big is gonna look. So yeah, I'm adding the screens there. Eventually I'm gonna have actual photos of like people on rides, so it looks realistic. Apart from that, this area is wrapping up. And add more of these pillars and add the pots, because that's my signature. I just added a bunch of pots everywhere, and that's the theming of this ride, honestly. And here I am making a test chair. So if you guys have ever been on some rides, my home park is Six Flags Great America in Chicago, and a couple of their rides, I think all of them actually have these sort of test seats in front of them. this design right here is not final. I make another design later off camera that I replace this with. So this is don't even mind this right here. That looks so bad. I mean, the new one looks bad too, but it's better than that. So that's all I can say for that. It's there, and it's a thing. So right now I'm trying to make this riverfront area kind of make a Italian Riviera. That was another goal of mine in this project, but I'm not gonna make that until a couple episodes in the future. So yep, right now we're finalizing the terrain here. It's a little wonky. I do fix this, I think, off camera as well, so I need to start recording more stuff. The thing is, like, I will finish a recording and then I just look around the park and see what needs to be fixed, and then I'm not gonna just start recording again just so I can fix a little thing, right? So I end up doing a lot off camera, and I apologize. But I mean, there's so much footage, there's so much content. I don't think you guys are being starved for content. Well, you are now, because I have not posted in a couple weeks, but you know, when I'm posting consistently, I think there's enough video to go around, so I don't think every single thing needs to be in there, unless you guys want it to. In that case, I'll record every little bit. All right. If anyone comments the word yes, actually, yeah, comment the word pineapple, so I really know you watched this video, and because it's pretty far in the middle, but not quite in the middle. So yeah, comment the word pineapple so I know, and you'll be my best viewer ever. I'll remember you, and I'll name something in the park after you. Right. So if anyone, besides the pineapple thing, if anyone comments about keeping everything in, I'll do that. But if not, then you know, there's enough content in here. So yeah. Right now I'm remaking the towers because I just copy and pasted the bogus ones. So I'm making them completely in the out of scenery pieces rather than wall pieces, so that I could use a 3D gizmo to place them and them not be on a grid. And this is important because I'm gonna destroy them, which you'll see very soon. So now I'm recreating the tower almost one for one. The only thing I couldn't completely recreate was the arches in all 4 corridors. There's only 2 arches because I had to use that scenery piece, so that's unfortunate. So next I'm sort of just making these look destroyed. So you'll see I just bend the pieces and make it look ruined. Honestly, I thought this looked really good. So there's your theming for a super expensive theme park. There's your theming right there. I probably could do with changing the color so they're not just bright white like they just got destroyed today. Maybe add some discoloration. I think that will go a long way as well. So yeah, these little wooden pieces, those pieces, man, those red wooden kind of triangle things, I spam those everywhere. I realized, like, I love those pieces. They're so good. Yeah, now I'm adding vines to make them look overgrown and stuff, kind of fit it into there. So that tower is, I guess, supposed to be the main tower, which is why it's connected to that big stone plaza in the front that has a pillar that fell over onto the first drop. So that is yeah, the main tower, and then there's 6 others that I'm gonna scatter around the whole area of the coaster, and it's supposed to be like, instead of the 7 gated walls, it's 7 towers that surround it, so it's kind of like a perimeter around the coaster. And maybe the coaster is the wall itself, and Amphion is, since he created the walls, right? The coaster is the wall, and it's defending the wall from some mythical beast, whoever Amphion fights in mythology. I don't know. Let's see. Fought against Lapiths. Lapiths? Lapiths. And tried to plunder Pholus of his wine and was killed by Heracles. Oh, so he's a thief. Maybe this is his fight with Heracles, because he wants the wine. And that's all the pots. All the pots are filled with wine. That's the theming. I definitely didn't just come up with that. I definitely had that in mind the whole time while I was placing pots everywhere. And the wine makes sense because it's right next to a winery. Bro, that's it. I mean, that's it right there. That's the theming. This ride, the roller coaster, is the walls of Thebes. The towers are the 7 gates, which Amphion creates. And then he's trying to escape from Heracles after stealing all the wine. That's it. So he's a wine raider. He's just like me, for real. Alcoholic. Just kidding. Don't drink alcohol, kids. It's bad. Okay. So yeah, now I'm detailing the towers. So trying to fit them into the terrain as much as possible. So, you know, clipping rocks into the base to make it just look like it was built upon that foundation, and placing small shrubs and trees and making everything look short so it was newer and more well maintained. And then just playing with the terrain painter. So yeah, that's the way I do things. Looks really meticulous, but I promise it's not. I'm actually just spamming rocks in places that would probably look good with rocks, you know, bunching them together to make it look as natural as possible. Then adding smaller rocks, and then adding the bigger trees that I want in that area, then going to smaller trees, and then in the areas without any of those, finally adding shrubs. And then the dead bush. The dead creosote bush, that's like the best thing they've ever added into this game. It's so good. So yeah, now this big cliff face, or the lift hill goes up. I had to detail this whole thing. So yeah, like I said, my methodology here, not even methodology, what is it? It is my algorithm. I guess I could use either word. My algorithm here is rocks, bigger trees, smaller rocks, and bushes. And then here I'm trying to fix this terraformed cliff face here, and I keep viewing it from that area, from that angle of, you know, you're going up the lift hill, because that's kind of the most likely to be viewed angle of that cliff face is from the lift hill as you're going up. So making sure everything looks good there, making the trees at the top and the bushes at the top of the hill being smaller so that it appears larger in comparison to them. And then yeah, here's another tower going in. Gonna have to ruin it here. The 3D gizmo is perfect for that. Sinking stuff into the ground, making it look like it's there forever. Looks so good. Right. So yeah, now we're just messing around, adding pieces everywhere. Some pieces aren't even used in the tower, but they look good, so I'm just scattering them everywhere. Adding rocks to kind of fit it into the terrain there, and actually separated the roof, which I thought looked pretty good. Alright, so now just kind of tying everything together by adding the bushes and stuff. So yeah, adding the smaller trees, bigger trees, blah blah blah, closing off the area. I'm not going to do full trees and stuff for, you know, the entire park, just the areas surrounding the finished areas, because that's all you're really going to see. So you don't really have to place a million trees, you just have to make it look like you did. That's my best advice for this game. So in any case, I'm getting to the next tower here. The next 2 towers, one's at the start of the queue and one's at the back end of the queue here, and these ones are intact. And I did that, I guess, kind of intentionally. I guess the main purpose in that was I didn't want the ruined towers to be able to be seen from outside of the coaster themed area. So the towers that are kind of closer to the rest of the park are fully intact, but the ones that are deeper within the coaster, those are the ones that are destroyed. So that way, from the outside, it still looks like a normal kind of area until you actually ride the coaster, and you'll see, oh, some of these are damaged. You know, this is a war zone or a battlefield. But from the outside, you know, from the winery, you don't want to look at that and see like, oh my god, that tower is destroyed. Like that, that's not good for you. So I didn't want to ruin the winery experience, so that's that. And that's the same idea I had for the rest of the park. You know, it's not a battlefield on that side of the park, so you shouldn't be able to see destroyed building. So yeah, like I said earlier in the video, I was thinking of reprofiling / editing this area of the ride, and I ended up doing that, so I'm attaching this to the end of the video right here. I originally wanted to add another airtime hill, but I couldn't really get that in the space, so instead I added this turnaround that I saw in Fury 325? Fury 325. It's called like a treble clef, I believe. So it's like a super overbanked turn where at the peak of the turn you're still banked 90 degrees on your side. So I think it turned out alright. So that's what I ended up going with for the rest of this coaster. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and the next episode will be coming out very soon because I've got my setup all done and I am ready to roll. So yeah, thanks for watching. That's all from me. Have a good one. Bye.